facts you might not know. From the biggest flops to the greatest hits, this is Trash Can Tidbits.
Hey there everyone, I'm your humble host, Beaton, ready to bring you some more fun facts for Trash Can Tidbits. Last time, I asked the question, which rock icon lets out a giant guttural scream for the Green Fairy in Moulin Rouge? The answer is Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy was indeed going to be the original choice to provide the voice for the Green Fairy as an animated character, which was supposed to be a muscular sitar-playing entity with a huge beard. That design was later thrown out, and Kylie Minogue played the part instead, but Ozzy still got to do his famous scream in the same sequence. His name also still appears in the film's end credits as the Green Fairy alongside Minogue's name. Now, with that addressed, let's get started today with fact number 1. Did you know that a classic Christmas movie had 2 side characters that would later inspire Sesame Street characters? In Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life, there are 2 minor characters, a cop and a cab driver named Bert and Ernie, who serve as lead character George Bailey's friends and confidants. Quite obviously, these characters later inspired Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street, who not only had their own odd couple-style adventures, but also had a famous Christmas moment of their own. In Christmas Eve on Sesame Street, Bert and Ernie gave away their prized possessions so they can get the other a gift. Bert gives away his paperclip collection to buy a soap dish for Ernie's rubber ducky, and Ernie gives away rubber ducky to get Bert a box to put his paperclip collection. In the end, Mr. Hooper arrives to give them back their possessions, creating a classic moment worthy of Frank Capra himself. Fact 2. Did you know that the Street Fighter movie was Jean Claude Van Damme's first PG-13 rated movie? All of the action movies he made at that time, including Bloodsport, Showdown in Little Tokyo, and Universal Soldier, were all rated R. He has starred in several PG-13 rated films since, including The Quest, and the occasional PG-rated film, including the Kung Fu Panda series, but he's still largely an R-rated fighting machine. Fact 3. Did you know that the first case in the Nintendo DS game Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney was partially inspired by the detective show Columbo? Unlike most detective shows, episodes of Columbo open with the crime being committed and clearly shows who the murderer is. The developers at Capcom took the first case in the game, the first turnabout, and revealed who the murderer is at the very beginning. This was a nod to Columbo, and the fun for the player comes when you, as attorney Phoenix Wright, confront and draw the killer right out on the witness stand, all the while developing the tactics used to play the game. Fact 4. Did you know that both actresses who had played Mary Poppins, Julie Andrews and Emily Blunt, were pregnant before they starred in their respective films? Andrews was starring in the Broadway musical Camelot when Walt Disney himself personally offered the role to her. She had to decline at first because she was pregnant, to which Disney responded, "We'll wait for you." After Andrews had her baby and throughout the shoot, Disney accommodated her and her new family. When Emily Blunt got the part for Mary Poppins Returns, she was also pregnant and in the middle of shooting Into the Woods. Disney also held off production of Poppins until she had her baby. Ironically, in Into the Woods, Emily Blunt was playing a character that couldn't have any children for the first half of the story. Fact 5. Did you know that the James Bond video game Agent Under Fire was supposed to be a next-generation port of The World Is Not Enough? That movie in the Bond franchise already had game releases on the Nintendo 64 and the original PlayStation. There's even leftover footage of what it was supposed to be before it was eventually decided to make it an original story not based on any other Bond movie. The only holdover from The World Is Not Enough to make it into Agent Under Fire is one of the game's levels, titled Cold Reception, referring to a line said by Bond in the film. Both levels are completely different, however, as Agent Under Fire's mission is referred to in name only. Fact 6. Did you know that the song Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets appeared in 2 Hollywood productions that featured Ron Howard? The classic rock standard was first introduced in the film Blackboard Jungle in 1955, but had a renaissance when it was featured in the 1973 George Lucas film American Graffiti, which featured actor and future director Ron Howard. 1 year later, the TV sitcom Happy Days premiered, featuring Howard again as lead character Richie Cunningham. Rock Around the Clock served as the show's theme song for the first few seasons of Happy Days before getting its own theme song. Fact 7. Did you know that the character of Jesse from Full House had a different last name in the first season? In the first season, Jesse's last name was Cochran. John Stamos, however, wanted to utilize his Greek heritage for Jesse's character, and starting in the second season onwards, his last name was Katsopoulos. The show's explanation for the name change was that Jesse's vocation is a musician and that he was experimenting with a cool-sounding rock star name. Fact 8. Did you know that British actor Alfred Molina, best known for playing Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home, narrated the opening sequence of the movie Angels and Demons? Molina had already played the villainous role of Bishop Aringarosa in the previous film of the Robert Langdon trilogy, The Da Vinci Code. For Angels and Demons, he did the opening narration as well as a voiceover for the film's trailers. So he got to act in 3 distinctive accents for each. He used a Spanish accent in the Da Vinci Code, an American accent in the trailers for Angels and Demons, and his natural English accent in the actual film. Fact 9. Did you know that the movie The Exorcist 3 wasn't originally meant to even be an Exorcist sequel? The movie, written and directed by William Peter Blatty, who wrote the original Exorcist, was supposed to be an adaptation of his book Legion, which was about a detective who investigates a series of murders in a psychiatric hospital, supposedly carried out by a long-dead serial killer. The studio, against Blatty's wishes, changed the name of the film to The Exorcist 3: Legion, even though the book had no exorcisms at all. The last third of the movie was hastily reworked, changing various scenes and creating some new characters, including a priest character to carry out an exorcism scene. To make further Exorcist connections, Jason Miller, who played Father Karras in the original movie, was cast as Patient X, who was already being played by Brad Dourif. It was decided in the end to use footage of both Miller and Dourif when Patient X is channeling both personalities. Blatty ended up being very dissatisfied with the final film as a result of the studio's interference. Fact 10. Did you know that the movie musical Oklahoma has 2 different theatrical cuts? This is because the movie was filmed twice. Oklahoma was the first in film history to be shot on the then-new screen format process Todd AO, developed by producer Mike Todd, a pioneer in widescreen format now known as 70mm, made for extra special films. This made the film image much bigger on a specially built curved screen, probably comparable to something today like IMAX. But because some theaters lacked the proper equipment to screen in Todd AO, just to be on the safe side, the entire film was shot again in regular CinemaScope, aka 35mm film. Both cuts of the film exist to this day and can be seen on the special edition Blu-ray. And here's today's trivia question. With the passing of Olivia Newton-John, we celebrate a music and film icon. Known for her iconic role as Sandy in the movie musical Grease, she transformed from a nice, wholesome girl into the badass black leather-wearing chick who tore it up with John Travolta in the film's memorable finale. One major tidbit about the making of that scene is that Ms. John kept those black pants that she wore for the rest of her life. My question is, true or false? Olivia Newton-John was sewn into the black pants she wore in Grease. And there we go for this week. I hope you liked what I offered you in terms of trivia, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring the bell to be notified for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.